Coming up on Texas Home Improvement.
And the issue is, if you notice, the gap here between the addition and the original house is fairly tight. As you come up, it gets wider and wider.
It looks like paint going on, but other than that, the similarities end. It's completely different. It has different ingredients in it, and is designed and engineered so it will last for 25 years.
So we go through the entire unit from A to Z, top to bottom. It's actually a 62-point maintenance that we go through. Both the indoor unit, the furnace or the air handler, and the outside unit.
Smile. You woke up in Texas.
I'm Jim Dutton, and I've been a contractor here in the great state of Texas for over 40 years.
It ain't a good day till we tear something up. Tools make the job.
To help as many people as I possibly could, I started a radio show over 20 years ago. Now to help even more people, I'm rolling up my sleeves and hitting the road.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, look how beautiful it is.
In Texas, most contractors don't have to have a license, so it's buyer beware.
And that's what you get when you hire a bootleg contractor.
You don't know what you're talking about. I've been building homes for over...
Yeah, and I've been fixing homes for over 40 years because of people like you. It doesn't work in Texas. This is Texas Home Improvement.
All right, we're gonna have to address a little bit of foundation movement here. This is the old office, which is now gonna be half utility room and half bar room, we'll call it. And the issue is, if you notice, the gap here between the addition and the original house is fairly tight. As you come up, it gets wider and wider. That's because that side of the addition went down. We're underpinning it, we're gonna tighten it up. We're not gonna do a lot of lift because prior to us ever getting here, there was floor leveler put down in order to make the room semi-flat to begin with. So we're very limited on what we can move, but we need to stabilize it so that when we sheetrock and put our floors across this joint, we don't have issues with everything opening up later. And really that's what we're doing. When you're dealing with foundation problems, a lot of times people think there's only one type of repair method that's gonna get the job done. I believe in using all of them, and the main reason I do, different soils require different techniques to support the structure. So on this particular home, we're using a precast concrete pile. You've got steel piles, you've got helicals, drilled piers. All of them have a purpose depending on the soils that you're dealing with. Once a pile is driven in the ground, you've got a cylinder sticking up out of the bottom of the hole. So we set a pile cap on top of it. Then we put a cylinder on one side, hand jack on the other so we can tighten everything up. Because these things are spring loaded. In other words, as it's being driven, it's pulling the soil down, and if you just let off of it, it'll spring up and actually lift the pile a little bit out of the ground, which is destined to failure because eventually it'll get that spring back in it. So you've got to keep tension on it the whole time. Then, once we put the tension, we shim it off with just steel shims. Again, keeping the shims to the middle so it's above our pile underneath. All the jacks are set. You do your lift. Once you've lifted it and leveled the house out, you take your jacks, set another cylinder on top, steel shims on it, and you've got the house secured now where you don't have to worry about it. And there's no question, foundation repair is a messy job. I mean, you got piles of dirt around the house or structure that you're working on, but it all cleans up when it's done, and you don't have to worry about the house moving again as long as your contractor went deep enough. The key factor is how deep you go. The deeper, the better.
One of the main causes of foundation movement on a structure is changes in moisture content, and trees are a big part of that. I'm a fan of trees for a home because it brings up home value, but you've got to do some preventative maintenance around a tree to keep it from being a problem with your structure down the road. The interesting thing with tree roots is most of them will grow in the first 18 inches of soil. So when we dig our trench 36 inches deep, you can see the bottom part of our trench here has no tree roots. But when you get to the top 18 inches, all of the feeder roots from the tree are growing towards the home and drawing moisture out. When we install a root barrier, I use a solid polyethylene barrier in the root barrier. And the reason we use that is it keeps the tree from drawing moisture through a porous barrier. It actually holds the moisture on the home side of the tree. But we run 36 inches deep, so when the tree roots want to grow again, they would have to dive deeper into the soil, which diminishes them before they could grow laterally across again. The polyethylene material that we use for our root barrier is fiber reinforced. It makes it extra tough. This stuff can be used to line ponds. What we're using it for is a root barrier between the structure and the tree to keep the tree roots from drawing the moisture out on the structure side. When we install our polyethylene root barrier, it drapes over the top of the trench, goes down to the bottom of our trench, and then turns and is redirected back towards the tree. And the reason we do that is once we bury our barrier here, the tree roots are going to want to grow again. If they hit the barrier and still want to grow, they may turn and go downwards and be redirected away from the structure back towards the tree rather than drawing moisture out from the home side of the tree. Now that we've got our root barrier installed, we've backfilled the hole or the trench, and the root barrier has been cut off just below the surface of the soil that you see here. If we pan over to the edge over here, you can see right where the root barrier is. Once we do our final cleanup on the top and put the foliage back in, it'll be hard to tell this root barrier ever was installed.
You looking for a contractor that'll treat you right? Go to my website, thipro.com. I got a list of contractors that'll take great care of you. You know, Texas Home Improvement is more than just a TV show. We're also a radio show, and we'll take your questions live on the air. Hey, don't forget to join us on our podcast. We're on every platform. All you gotta do is look for Texas Home Improvement. So often people, when they're probably just out here at the home show walking by your booth, think, well, that looks like a nice paint job, but it's not paint.
That's exactly right. I get that a lot. And so what I do, I just try to simplify it. It looks like paint going on, but other than that, the similarities end. It's completely different. It has different ingredients in it, and is designed and engineered so it will last for 25 years. So you can pick any colors you want, and it's going to insulate. It has a 6.9 R factor. It's water resistant, because when I go on a lot of appointments now, there's a lot of brick homes, but there's also a lot of hardy, where it starts to get bad, or it starts to rot, or just regular wood.
Right. And
we could repair that, but our coating, once we repair it and we put our application on there, it's never going to rot again. So they won't have to worry about that. So it's basically going to make it maintenance free for them. Our thing is, it's all about the prep. That's where we start first.
Yep.
Our product is great, but our prep has to be just as good. So we'll take our time with that. We'll power wash, we'll scrape, we caulk a lot. We want to make sure that everything is sealed up before we even start applying any of our product.
Well, you did a great job up in Allen for Laura.
I did not expect what I got, and I'm just so pleased with it. It is just amazing the way that it looks, and as opposed to just doing paint.
Right. She's a great customer, her and her husband. There's a little bit of a story behind that. When I got to her house, we walked around the house, and then it was a brick house. It was a ranch. The bottom part was brick, the upper part was wood. And on the sides, they had the gables, that was wood. And she asked me to give her a price to replace all the wood.
The original plan was to go ahead and look at possibly replacing all of the hardy board. And so when I went to Rhino Shield and I said, Gary, this is what I'm working with. They want to provide total makeover with new hardy board and paint. And he's like, that's not necessary. And I'm like, what?
I said, okay, do you not like the wood? And she said, no, I had an estimate before you from a painting company, and they said it's all rotted. And I said, well, I could tell by looking at it, some of it needs to be replaced, but not all of it. Well, long story short, she got a bid from another company to replace all the wood for $16,000.
Oh.
And then they were going to paint it.
Yeah.
We replaced her bad wood. It was $1,000. And then we put the Rhino Shield on there. And it's going to be guaranteed for 25 years. She's our biggest fan.
When you look down the street and you see this house here that was just recently painted, it doesn't even compare to what we have on our house. And what I like about it is they are going to have to call a painter probably in another couple of years. I'm never going to have to call a painter because it's permanent. And that's why I love Rhino Shield.
And that's how we treat our customers. And you know, we have a 5-star Google review rating, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We want to make sure we get referrals, and half of our customers are through referrals. So that goes a long way for us.
It does, and it speaks highly of the company. So let's talk about the materials that you can apply Rhino Shield to.
Okay, all right. Anything, basically, for the most part. There's a lot of brick in the DFW area. The issue with brick around here is if it's been, applied with regular paint, the issue with that is regular paint won't let the brick breathe.
Right.
And that could be a big issue.
That's when it blisters off.
It blisters off. And I go to a lot of those appointments.
Yeah.
Our coating, even though it's a lot thicker, it's still going to keep the brick look, so it's not going to take that away, but it's breathable.
Right.
So that's how we could guarantee it for 25 years. And the biggest thing also is the insulation. That's huge. In Texas, with the heat in the summertime, it has a 6.9 R factor, like I said. It's going to make a huge difference.
If somebody did have their house painted, the brick, and it's blistering, are you guys able to go in and clean that up and apply your product, or what do you guys do?
That's exactly right. You know, we've talked about this, Jim, many times. It's about the prep. That's the biggest thing. So what we would do is power wash.
Okay.
And a lot of them
peel
come
as
off.
much off as you can then.
Yeah, but then we go in behind that and we scrape.
Okay.
We got to get the rest of that off. Once that's all off, then we apply our primer. First, we're going to caulk, though. Then once we apply our primer, and that sets up and dries in a couple hours, then we could apply any coating, any color the customer wants with the ceramics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you tired of dealing with these fly-by-night contractors? Go to my website, thipro.com. I got a list of great contractors to help you out. You know, Texas Home Improvement is more than just a TV show. We're also a radio show, and we'll take your questions live on the air. Hey, don't forget to join us on our podcast. We're on every platform. All you got to do is look for Texas Home Improvement. Well, Brian, let's talk about the cleaning for a second. You guys offered at a great discounted price, but what all are you doing?
So we go through the entire unit from A to Z, top to bottom. It's actually a 62-point maintenance that we go through. Both the indoor unit, the furnace or the air handler, and the outside unit. First and foremost, we go through and we see how it's working. And then we go through and we take everything apart and we clean everything.
Okay.
You know, dirt, dust, and debris. It's the #1 killers of furnaces and air conditioners. And almost every time a breakdown is due to a lack of maintenance. Well, what good is a maintenance if we don't actually clean all the dirt out that's causing those breakdowns in the first place? We put it all back together and then go through and make sure everything's working in tip-top shape, saving you money on your electric bills, preventing those breakdowns, and ultimately helping your system last as long as possible.
I'd really like to go out and see one day.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we've got somebody here in the area. We can go pop in on one. Hey, Brian, how's it going, man?
It's good to see you.
This is Mr. Jim Dutton.
Hey, Mr. Dutton. Colin, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I was just telling him what we do on our tune-ups, and he asked if we could go pop in on one and take a look. So here we are.
I love it when people pop in. Most of the time the homeowners are here, but I actually just finished the performance baseline, which is kind of establishing the system before we get started with the cleanup. We want to make sure everything's working properly. That way we can show the homeowner the improvements that we make by the time the tune-up is done. Believe it or not, I was just getting ready to start with the first phase of actually cleaning, which is pulling apart the outdoor unit, getting it cleaned up, getting it tuned up. This one's a doozy. Let's go over there and take a look. Well, Brian, Jim, just before you guys pulled up, here's where I was getting ready to start on. This is the AC portion of the unit, half of it at least. I'm getting ready to pull it apart. We're gonna get it all cleaned up. As you can see, this system's been neglected a little bit. We're gonna get that cleaned up and make sure that by the time we're done here, the homeowner's not gonna have any concerns whatsoever. We're gonna make sure that this system's running as efficiently as possible. This unit sucks in air from the sides, and what it does, the way that it expels the heat, is up through the top. So we wanna make sure that you've got a good, clean area around the space. We wanna make sure that these fins that are inside the unit as well are clean and free of debris. The better that this system can pull in air and expel the heat, the better efficiently the system's gonna run for the homeowners, as well as result in lower utility bills. Well, I'm gonna get started, guys. Feel free to watch, and we'll get this thing cleaned up. You're gonna see a whole new system by the time we're done. What I'm doing right now is I put a solution on here that's gonna pull the dirt out of these fins. So we're gonna get this foam to pull the dirt out. When you see this thing, once I get it washed off and cleaned off, it's gonna look like a whole different coil. You know, when we come up into somebody's attic, a lot of times, people think this is where the heater is or furnace. Believe it or not, half of your air conditioner is up here as well. One of the biggest things that that this component up here does is it moves all of the air through your home.
Right.
Whether it's in heating or cooling season. If we're not moving the proper amount of air, we're not gonna have the proper efficiency, and we're not gonna have the longevity that we want. So pulling out this blower wheel is what I'm about to do now. And the reason why we do this is because of all the dirt and dust that is built up on there. Well, Jim, Brian, I finished getting this wheel cleaned up. As you can see, you guys saw how dirty and dingy it was before, black. You almost couldn't see any of the silver. This thing looks practically brand new.
Yeah.
Now the good thing is we were able to catch this before it became a problem. You know, when you have all that excess on there, it can result in rusting and pitting of these fins. And like same thing with the unbalance of the dirt, you can actually have the unbalance of the wheel on this as well. So ensuring that we pull and clean these each time we come out for a maintenance is key to increasing the longevity of a customer system.
Well, Brian, I appreciate you letting me come out and see one of your jobs.
Yeah, it's been great. I hope you saw really what differentiates us and really what makes our tune-up the best here in town.
Oh, that's a step above anything I've ever seen before. Really a big difference.
Yeah, it's a pleasure of ours to really give people put some money back into their pocket with their efficiency, and really glad we had the opportunity to show you what we do.
Well, how can people get in touch with you?
Best way is go to the website, theontimeexperts.com.
Okay.
And bevy of information on there. You can also click the Book Now button at the top, put in exactly what you need, and it drops right into our system. We can get out to you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of your hair. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Hey, you want to listen to our podcast? All you gotta do is go to your favorite, what are they called?
Platform. We're on all the platforms.
Yeah. It's time to call US Foundation Repair, and we've made it real easy for you. Simply click on the scan the QR code and not click it. I'm about foundation repair, and what's the most expensive repair? The one that didn't need to be done. Doesn't need to be done. That's why at US Foundation Repair we've been doing that was wrong. Hey, don't forget to turn out the lights. The party's over.